Welcome, everyone, to this week's episode of A Serious Chat with a Comedian, my Hollywood Los Angeles season. Now, my guest today, well, he was known as the shoe surgeon. Now he's just a surgeon. He's a creative, he's an influencer, he's got a lot of tattoos. He's a dad, he's very spiritual. He's here today. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, welcome to Dominic Ciambrone. Dom, thanks for coming on the show, mate.
Yeah, no, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, mate, describe to people what you do. It's a very interesting career that you have, and I know we kind of met on Instagram.
Yep.
And then I looked you up because most of my followers know I love shoes, and you do a lot of work with shoes, but you just don't manufacture shoes, do you? What do you do?
No, I'm just an artist at heart, and I like to create things, but more so than an artist, I'm just someone that was very passionate about sneakers growing up, and I create my art onto sneakers and anything I touch now. So I used to, at age 15, I painted my first pair of shoes. I was into sneakers in high school, and painting my first pair of shoes, I went to school, and everyone loved them. So it just clicked that I needed to create shoes. So now I deconstruct and rebuild all types of shoes, and I build shoes from scratch. I work on cars and experiences and spaces. So yeah, I'm just a creative maker.
Well, what? But you got an Italian name. I'm assuming you got an Italian background, right? How Italian are you? How Italian were your parents?
I mean, so my Italian friends say I'm not Italian because my last name is, well, one, I don't speak Italian.
Right. Okay.
So if you tell an Italian you're Italian, you don't speak Italian,
Yeah.
you're not Italian.
Yeah. Right. Do you understand it?
No.
Okay.
No,
All
Spanish a little bit.
Okay. Right.
So my parents are. My Italian family originally is from Calabria.
Yep.
So Calabrese, and they went to New York, upstate New York. So my parents were both born in Utica, New York.
All right. Yep.
And it was weird. They're both born in the same hospital, but they didn't meet till they were 18 years old in Hollywood.
Right.
So growing up, I mean, my dad was a vice president of Pier 39 Restaurants. He's a chef. Right. So I grew up in the kitchen. We ate a lot of pasta and, more Americanized Italians, but definitely Italian.
Yeah, because the reason why I ask you is because when you said that you started painting your shoes at 15, I can imagine what my dad would have done if I had started painting my shoes, and gone to school like, what, I just bought you these shoes, you just ruined them, what are you doing, right? So you didn't have that, I'm assuming. You had a freedom.
I definitely had freedom, but there's definitely some of that, like, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah.
I grew up in the kitchen, and my dad was a chef. We had a restaurant growing up in high school, so all my brothers were cooks. I cooked in the kitchen a little bit, but I was the one like trying to get out of it to do fashion things. So it was definitely questionable at the time.
But did you grow up in Los Angeles or?
I was born in Orange County. I was raised up in Northern California,
right?
Santa Rosa, Sonoma County.
Yeah. So when you said that your parents said to you, "What the hell were you doing?" What the hell were you doing?
I was just expressing myself.
Yeah, right. Talk to us about that.
I just wanted, so for me, wearing a pair of shoes was a way for me to connect with other people.
Right.
And I felt good wearing shoes. So after getting shoes that everyone else had, it wasn't the same feeling. When your friend had the pair of shoes, it just didn't feel the same. So that's when I airbrushed a pair of shoes. I painted a pair and went to school, and it clicked that I could just do that myself. Yeah. I can create that feeling through the shoes that I was wearing by painting them myself.
So, I mean, it wasn't just shoes that you were doing. You were making all sorts of stuff up with Lego as well, right?
Yeah, growing up, I was building Legos as a kid. I was screen printing T-shirts. I was cutting and sewing T-shirts. I was making counterfeit tickets as a kid.
Right.
I mean,
to where? To get in where?
To graduation in high school.
Right.
Like, we sold extra tickets, and also if you go to a store, or if you go to one of the a fun center where you can go win games.
Yeah.
They give you tickets.
Oh yeah, coupons.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So my grandmother sent me, and she worked for HP Hewlett Packard. She sent us. This was so long ago. I don't know if I was 12 years old yet.
Yeah.
She sent me this keyboard that had a scanner in the keyboard. So I would scan these tickets and copy them and then go use them. And it worked.
Right.
So I was doing all types of stuff. I was very creative as a kid in all ways.
And where did that lead? How did that get to where you are today?
Just I think just understanding that I could make things, and it was a resourceful thing for me.
Yeah, because you were fascinated by shoes, right? So you spent a lot of time trying to learn how to make shoes, right?
Yeah. Growing up, shoes were just something you wore. You didn't really use them as a canvas to paint. So no one was really doing what I was doing. There was very few on the internet all over the world, but it's very few, and it wasn't at the level that I wanted to do it. So shoes happened to be that canvas, and it was so difficult to try to figure out. It wasn't like you can go to a college and just learn it.
Yeah.
It was something new, and I wanted to figure it out.
So what did you do to do that?
So during high school, I started painting shoes. The paint I used at first was the wrong paint. So then I started searching out what better paint to find. And then I didn't like painting. So then I learned about shoe repair. I started fixing shoes. I started repairing boots and heels and purses and just learning how to do repair. And then I had mentors just start coming out of everywhere. And I found a Western boot maker in Northern California who makes handmade custom boots.
Yep.
And I was watching what he was doing with boots, and I said, that's what I want to do with sneakers. And so I was just piecing all these things together. I tried to go to college. It just didn't work for me.
Yeah.
So I had a mentor that was a shoe repair mentor. I had a bootmaker mentor. Eventually, I took a traditional shoemaking class, which is different than sneakers.
Right.
So I had to piece all of the things together while trying trial and error myself to just piece them together to do what I do today.
I mean, and you're talking about you actually get in there and sew, right? You sew.
Oh, yeah.
You actually use sewing machines.
Yes.
Right? And tell us about that part and how you got into that. Because it's not something you'd think when you're thinking making shoes, right? Or making sneakers.
Yeah. No, so as a kid, I was always painting stuff or drawing, but I didn't love it. So my grandmother bought me a home sewing machine in high school, and I just started sewing. I just practice myself, just how to figure it out. I love to sew.
Yeah.
And then
And we're presuming that she bought you that because she saw you doing something. She saw you with a needle and a thread or trying to put stuff together, right?
Yeah,
because,
exactly. I was like cutting materials out and gluing it on stuff, and I believe I told her that I wanted to just learn how to sew, so she bought me a sewing machine.
Yeah, right. Now, you've made shoes for a lot of celebrities.
Yeah.
Right, Drake, LeBron James, Justin Bieber.
Yeah.
How do you go from where we just left off to doing that? Because that's what fascinates me, and that's what's going to fascinate a lot of people watching here.
Man, how do you go from that? So it took many years. I was, let's say I painted my first shoe at 15 just to explore it.
Yeah.
Learned shoe repair from 18 to 23, and I just was always someone that was outgoing and networking and meeting people, and I would make shoes, and the quality wasn't even good yet.
Right.
Like I was building this while I was meeting people. So I would make a pair of shoes and then I'd give it to a DJ in Vegas. I think my first set of celebrities were Vegas DJs.
Right.
And just kept networking, kept meeting people.
Yeah, because it's a very big. The sneaker culture is a very an American thing, but even more in particular, a very LA thing. Right?
Yeah.
Well, why is that? Can you explain the history of sneakers and why they're that big? Is it because of basketball? Because basketball, it's big in Australia, but nowhere near as what it is here. We don't have that whole. I mean, we do have it because we've been looking at America, but
it's not as big.
It's been big here for a long time. I want to understand the history of that.
I mean,
in your opinion.
So even before basketball, right? You had Run DMC and Adidas, and sneakers were a way of expressing yourself, and women had purses.
Yeah.
Right? Men had cars.
Yeah.
Or shoes.
Yeah.
And cars are more expensive. Not everyone can get a car, especially a nice one. So shoes were a way that you can connect with people, and sneakers have blown up so much also because of basketball. Michael Jordan and Nike, right? Like, I don't know if you saw the new movie Air.
No, I haven't.
Yeah,
no.
I haven't yet either, but like that tells the story of it. And without that, if that never happened, it really wouldn't be where it's at today. From basketball and lifestyle merging and becoming a playable shoe, and that whole story of Michael Jordan, and now, the Jordan 1 is the most famous shoe in the world.
Yeah.
And it's not even, you can't even play basketball in it.
Yeah.
I mean, you could, but it's not at the level that basketball shoes are now.
Yeah. When did you first produce something that you went, oh, wow, okay, I'm onto something here? I
First shoe I ever painted.
You're right.
The first shoe I ever painted, I just knew like it was crap. I mean, the art was amazing.
Yeah.
But it was crap in the sense I used the wrong paint, but I airbrushed it and it was done. It was all camouflage, and I saw it as a kid, and I was like just fascinated that I did that. And I went to school and I got reactions from other people that confirmed that feeling, and I was like, okay, I'm onto something.
Yeah. See, maybe that's another thing that's different about America and Australia. In Australia, we generally have a uniform when we go to school. So there's no way you would have been able to wear sneakers, let alone sneakers that had paint on them.
All of Australia, you need to wear a uniform?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah. So that's a big thing. Or, you got to wear nice black leather shoes or brown leather shoes when you go to school.
Yeah.
So there was no way that you could express yourself that you could here. And perhaps that's another reason why I think
it probably
it's come out. And so who was the first person that who bought a pair of your shoes that you went, wow, okay, now this is really going to start taking off? And how did that happen? Did it happen quickly? Did it, did they wear it somewhere? Were in the papers? Did they talk about it? We're kind of fascinated by the whole glitz and glamour of it all.
Yeah, no, I don't think there was one moment. There was a lot of small moments that built up.
Yep.
And so for me, I got asked to make shoes. I was 24 years old.
Yep.
I got asked to make shoes for Justin Bieber's tour.
Yep.
I made shoes for Will.I.Am for the VMAs right before that. And then I got asked to make shoes for a TV show called Law and Order SVU. Mm-hmm. And I was making shoes for a very high-end boutique in LA called H. Lorenzo.
Right.
So all of these things were happening at one time.
Yeah.
And it was all from different sources.
Yeah.
I made $15,000 in 1 month, spent it all the next month.
Yeah.
Thinking that it was always going to come. But I think that was the moment of just like, oh, wow, this is serious. Like you can, you can make it, you can create your art through shoes, and it can be a business, or it can support you.
Yeah. And where did Justin Bieber, where did he see your shoes that he said, oh, wow? And you work closely with him, or you got to work with his people?
No, so he was 15 at the time.
Yeah, right.
So this is when he was on tour, and the Bieber tour was really big. Yeah. I got hooked up with him through his stylist at the time. Wow, that was so long ago. Maya and Ashley.
Yeah.
And through my friend who had a company called Android Home, who I made shoes for, who was a mentor, made shoes for Will.I.Am for. And I just happened to deliver the shoes for Will.I.Am. And at the same time, they were in a meeting. And I connected with her. She said, we're going to need shoes for Justin Bieber's tour. So I then, a few months later, I started making all of Justin Bieber's tour shoes.
Yeah.
And what's cool about that was I didn't work closely with him, but I worked closely with the stylist at the time. But once he had new stylists, he kept asking for my work because he knew my work, and he said, I want that. So it was really cool. And that was early days. My quality was not even close to what it is now. So
what do you do now that's very different to then? I mean, give us an example of the kind of detail that you go to.
Yeah, now I fully recraft shoes. Before I'm adding materials on top and I'm sewing on top of. So it's like customization. Now I love it's really the art of shoemaking, the traditional shoemaking, the craft that comes from Italy. Like I'm putting my touch on all of these things, but I'm doing it in a traditional shoemaking way.
Do you think that you are going to move away from sneakers? I mean, you probably still do sneakers, but other different styles of shoes?
Oh yeah, I mean, I've done high heels.
Yeah,
I've done boots.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do more dress shoes and loafers, which I have done. It's just very few. When you produce one thing, you go anywhere. You can go to Italy. You go to a factory in Italy.
Yeah.
They're not making all types of shoes.
No,
they're making one type of shoe, and they're making it the best.
Yeah.
So it is very challenging to do all types of shoes and make them all the best if you're doing all different types of things. And at the same time, I'm down for that challenge.
Yeah.
I want to make all types of shoes, and I want to make them all the best.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm going to be doing dress shoes and loafers. I did loafers for the Kentucky Derby for Walker Buehler, a pitcher of the Los Angeles Dodgers, full ostrich, Gucci style. It was really cool. So I'm going to be doing all types of stuff. It's just not perfecting them, but making them at the best quality you can.
Yeah. How long does it take? So if I come to you and I said, mate, can you make me a pair of shoes, 2 or 3 pairs of shoes for my tour? How long from us chatting about it to getting them actually done?
I mean, that's the cool thing about what I've been able to do.
Because I've got a show on Saturday night. No, okay.
I work that fast. You know what I mean? I work that fast.
Yeah.
If so, I can get a call right now by someone, and depending on who it is and the energy and the relationship, I can make it happen by the end of the day.
Really?
Yeah. What's realistic? I like 3 months to work with people, just to give it the time. And I work on so many projects that I want to give it the proper design time.
Yeah.
But if it's like, let's just say you're like, I want this Jordan 1 in this colorway, like I can have that done by the same day.
Right. Now, I mean, how does that work in terms of, I mean, they make Air Jordan, is it Nike who makes Air Jordan?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what, you've got to go and buy a pair of their shoes?
Yeah.
And then yeah, right.
Yeah, so I'm going to the resale shops or stores and finding just shoes, or clients send me their shoes, and then I rip them apart and I rebuild them.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and of course, there's no sort of copyright against that, is it? Because you've actually bought their shoe.
I don't know the legality behind it,
Yeah.
to be frank, but I just know that I work with Nike on projects with LeBron and all types of things, but for me, it's just I'm just taking a shoe and customizing it.
Yeah, and tell us a little bit more about some of the more interesting collabs that you've done, collaborations.
Man, I've done collaborations from Gucci to Bentley. I actually designed a car. Last night, I just came from my event where I designed and made 3 custom motorcycles.
Right.
Pizza Hut was a fun one. It was one of my first big ones.
What are you doing for Pizza Hut? Like, I mean, is it design on their pizza boxes? Or
no,
what?
so I actually made Pizza Hut their own shoes.
Oh, right, shoes for Pizza Hut. Right.
This was a marketing thing for 5 years ago or so, where they did a pie top. It was called the Pie Top 1. And it was a Pizza Hut inspired shoe, and it was used in the marketing campaign and the TV commercials for Pizza Hut.
Yeah, right. And what other things are you getting into now?
I mean,
like you said, bikes. How do you go from shoes to bikes? What do you know about bikes? Tell me. Well, I mean, it just fascinates me. You're springing from here to there. Okay, all right, I can understand it, but how do you get there? That's what fascinates me.
As a creative and an artist, I just like making or putting my touch on anything. And as a kid, I was redoing my furniture in my room. I would rearrange my room every month. I would paint the walls. I would put a different vibe every month. So one day I painted it that looked like a beach setting. I built shutters in my window that were actually wood shutters that opened and stuff. Yeah. So I was just always very, very hands-on, and that's the way I look at any product. Like, I can touch and design anything. Like, I could design this set. I'm getting into interiors, and I'm getting into designing restaurants and music studios and boxing gyms and clothing and everything.
Because your business is actually, I mean, you got over 30 people working for you, right?
Yeah, there's about 40 in my LA location. I have a location in New York, and now we have some stuff in Vegas, so it's all over.
Wow. And what do you think the secret is that you have? Well, not the secret, I should say, the principles that you're applying to grow this business, and how do you do it? I mean, you've got managers who help you grow, because you can't possibly do everything yourself. You've got other designers.
Yeah, I have a full design team. I have a photo video team. Yep. Normally my content team would come with me, but they've been working long hours to get all our partnerships done. Yeah. I have a business partner that I brought on about 5 years ago that's helped me see things and organize things, where I can still be the creative lead while he can organize all the rest of the parts of the business. Yeah. But it's just always about building a good team and always coming from an authentic place. When you come from an authentic place and you have a vision, you can go after it. And if you're a good person, then it will come back to you.
Hope you're enjoying the podcast. We'll be right back straight after this ad break. Hi, this is Joe Avati, and I am very proud to say that I am now one of the brand ambassadors for Elite Supplements. One of the supplements I take every day is resveratrol, an anti-aging supplement. You know how they say that 1 glass a day of wine is good for you? It's because it's got resveratrol in it. But do you know how much wine you actually have to drink to get any benefit of it? 11 litres. Now, it doesn't take Einstein to figure out that if you're drinking 11 litres of wine a day, you ain't going to be around long enough to see any benefit. So make sure you get your supplements from Elite Supplements. Resveratrol worked for me. Look how young I look. And I'm 73. Hi everyone, I'd like to thank one of the sponsors of the podcast, St. Romeo, who provide great skincare products for men. I'm going to show you some of the products. St. Romeo Facial Cleanser, Rock and Roll Face Scrub. And if you had a rock and roll lifestyle, you're going to need a face scrub. This is their deep cleansing charcoal bar. How putting charcoal on your face cleans it, I have no idea, but it works. This is one of my favorites, the Cucumber Eye Gel. Must be for vegans. And they've got heaps of stuff for your hair too. Shampoos, styling creams, and Stronghold for your hair. Obviously, I don't need any of these. I'd like to thank St. Romeo for being one of the sponsors for the Joe Vardy podcast. How do you find the differences between Los Angeles and New York in terms of design and the people there and what they want and what you've got to cater for?
Man, New York City is one of the most amazing cities in the world. The first time I ever visited New York City, I was 18. I was living in Charlotte, North Carolina, and we drove up to New York City. Yeah. And when we went there, I ran into Pharrell Williams and just the energy of New York for the first time as a kid. Yeah. You know, it was just amazing. So at that time is actually when I came up with the name Shoe Surgeon. Right. So I was in the hotel room and came up with, you know, it's kind of what am I doing with shoes? And I just came up with the idea. And it's just different though. Like there's so much energy to take from New York. It's just and what's cool about New York is when I'm on the streets in New York, everyone's like, "Yo, shoe surgeon!" Like, yo, because it's the sneaker culture is even bigger there because everyone's walking everywhere. Right. Right. Okay. So everyone's wearing shoes. Yeah. Everyone wears shoes everywhere, but they get to actually see them on the streets. Yeah. And there's so much, you know, Soho and like just everywhere in New York is just it's more fashionable. LA is just fashionable in a different way. A lot of the culture is being driven from LA now, more so. I mean, you see a lot of people just have come to LA from New York, from Chicago. You know, Kanye West now in LA, it's his home base. And, you know, he's driving a lot of fashion and Jerry Lorenzo for Fear of God. It's just different. It's more, I feel like it's still high paced, but not compared to New York. It's more relaxed here. You have beautiful weather. Usually today we have a nice day. Yeah. Yesterday was a little cold, but it's just a different type of thing. I can't really explain. Yeah, because you know, for us looking at Los Angeles, you know, from Australia, from a lot of other parts of the world, it's all that, you know, Hollywood. It's all Hollywood, right? You know, that glitz and glamour, the Beverly Hills and all that kind of stuff. But there's so much more to LA, isn't there? Oh, yeah. And why do you think that is? And what is it that you've seen, you know, living here and why it's attracting all the Kanye Wests and other people from over back east? It's just a great foundation to be creative and to allow yourself to speak your voice in whatever form it may be. When I first visited LA, it was, all right, Hollywood glam and Beverly Hills, parties in the hills. And then it was also like, I can go downtown LA and make clothing in one day. Like there's such a huge network of creatives here. It's very cool. What do you love and hate about it? What I love and hate about LA? I love the weather. I love how easy it is to get other places. You know, LAX being one of the biggest, even though I also hate LAX, but no, I really don't hate anything. What I dislike about it is just, there's just so many people here, but that's what comes with it. Yeah. So many people want to be here. There's so much opportunity here. Yeah. I find that it's a city full of layers of different kinds of people. Oh yeah. You know, things that we just don't see in Australia. You know, like that whole hip hop movement, we just don't have that. I mean, yes, we know about it. Right. Yes, there are people who are fans of that kind of vibe, but you don't see it. Yeah. You know, you just can't express yourself like you can here. What do you think? Is it Iggy Azalea from Australia? Sorry? Iggy Azalea? Mate, you know what? I don't even know who that is.
I gotta be
right,
honest with
all
you.
right.
Yeah, you know, like
She's a female rapper from Australia,
all right.
I believe.
Yeah, see that the whole rap thing. I don't know.
Yeah, of course.
I don't know anything about
Yeah,
rap
yeah.
music at all. That's another thing.
What kind of music do they listen out mostly out there?
Well,
It's all over.
it's all
everywhere.
over the
It's
place.
everywhere.
With this day and age, because of the internet. I mean, look, the last person I listened to was George Michael in the '80s, mate.
Okay,
So there you go. I haven't done any. I've just been touring, man.
Yeah.
I don't watch films. I don't watch TV.
Yeah.
Where I can consume my, what kind of interests me is maybe social media, really.
Yeah.
So if I like something, I'll go and have a look, like your page,
Right.
and I was fascinated with what you do.
Yeah.
And hence why I wanted, to come on here. But for me, it's very interesting to have someone like you on here because it gives us an insight into what LA is. Because it's not what just what people think.
No.
It isn't just Beverly Hills. It
No.
isn't just, the film industry.
Yeah, I think for me, when I think of LA, the focus is making clothes, being able to create stuff and design and creativity. And, there's so many sides to it. There's, like you said, there's so many layers to it.
Yeah.
And it's just it's amazing to be here, to be creative next to other creatives. Like I can call a friend right now that, makes cars or designs motorcycles. I can call a friend that's making jewelry. I can call a friend that makes custom jackets, and all at the highest level.
Yeah. Now, I read somewhere that you said that because you are a father, you have got 2 kids?
Yep.
Yeah. How old are the kids now?
My son is 7 and my daughter turns 5 on Monday.
Yeah. Good experience, isn't it?
Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah, that's great.
I couldn't imagine without it.
Yeah. You said somewhere in an interview that you have to be one person at work, one person at home, and another person on social media. I thought that was very interesting. Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, I think it's just about it's having your identity to who you are at the core, but also being able to play these different roles. Before, I got all those roles mashed up, and it didn't do well for me. But now to understand, like, it's important to play those roles as a father, as a partner, as the personality you are, but also be true to who you are. Because, you can get lost. And that's what happens to a lot of people in Hollywood as well. Yeah. They forget who they truly are at the core.
Yeah. How do you maintain that sort of, how do you maintain your feet on the ground, would you say then? I mean, because you got a big business, you're making all these shoes for, a lot of celebrities. The business is growing. You got a huge following on social media, right? Well, you got over 1 million followers, I think, on Instagram alone. How do you keep your feet on the ground?
My kids help me stay grounded.
Yeah.
Getting back to nature really helps me stay grounded. And my business partner, we work really well together. Completely just different kind of brains. Yeah. We play well with each other, and just all of the things that I've been through my whole life and have humbled me. Yeah. And just being aware of it, because there are times where you think that it could never happen again, but just checking your ego and really being aware and conscious of yourself. Yeah.
Now you did say as well that you'd love to be on the cover of Men's Health.
Yeah.
Have you made it yet?
Have not.
Yeah, but tell us about that, because that's an interesting part of yourself, which I think people don't know about.
So the goal for me to be on Men's Health is to bring more awareness to mental health and mental fitness, I like to call it as well, or mental wellness. And they all coincide with men's health, right? It's like, most of the people you see on the cover, it's like they have a 6-pack or whatever. And it's like, sure, do I want to have a 6-pack? Yeah. But like, it's working out or being health conscious also helps with your mental health, and vice versa. They all coincide. So I want to share my story through men's health, to the focus